hundreds of lawsuits that pop up. The burden of proof in these lawsuits isn't very high either. It's not as if they do a deep dive CSI investigation on every claim. Sometimes people just get paid just to make it go away because reputational wealth is very fragile, especially for a black man. Reputational wealth meaning that people want to do business with you because they think you're the coolest guy on the block and because they loved your last album. That's very fragile because the minute that somebody says that you might have done something bad, even if there's not a lot of evidence, that's still going to make people not want to do business with you because business inherently is very conservative. Corporations are very conservative. And I observed that actually back in 2013 when Lil Wayne said something that was just racially terrible and it was very insulting to the black community. The way I was able to get Wayne's attention was I didn't address Wayne directly. I addressed Mountain Dew, the corporation that was sponsoring him. And I said, you can't be putting money in the pocket of a black person who is disrespecting the black community. I don't care what race he is. You're not my ally if you disrespect black people. I'm sorry. I don't care what your skin color is. And it was because of that economic pressure that he folded. He ended up apologizing, and unfortunately, he ended up losing. He had a world tour. I think they were sponsoring a tour. He and Ti and stuff like that were going to go on a tour, and it got canceled. Because I was like, no, this is BS. You can't go out here. I don't care if you're making your money. You don't have to contribute to the cause. You don't have to support what the community's doing. We forgive you for that. But when you're undermining that by sharing by getting paid to harm the community, then I can't co-sign on that. And I don't care how great your music is. That's those are disconnected things. So my point is to say that with hip hop, with rappers, the thing about rappers, unfortunately, is that because we've allowed people to pay some of our most talented black men and women to promote a culture that encourages criminality, the culture that encourages the sexualization of little girls, a culture that encourages financial irresponsibility, a culture that encourages ignorance, a culture that cheers on the death of black people. What you really have is a space that is anti-health, anti-wealth, anti-family, anti-relationships, anti-happiness. It's a space that produces lots of trauma. It's a space that produces long prison sentences. There's a long list of rappers that have gone to prison because rappers are easy to arrest. It's weird. The culture is so crazy that they will kill somebody. Some of them will kill somebody and then go make an album about who they shot. Because the culture tells them to keep it real. Or the police, they used to have what they called the hip hop squad or the hip hop police squad or whatever they called it, and they would just follow the rappers around because they said, okay, these guys are goofy and dumb. They're going to eventually do something illegal, so we're going to just wait for them to do something illegal so we can lock them up. And so my point is to say that Jay-Z was kind of unfortunately a leader of that culture. And we live in a world now where even things that you did when you were very young can come back and haunt you when you're very old. I believe now Jay-Z is almost a grandfather. He's not in the shenanigans like he used to be. This is not 1998 anymore. But the thing is, in my opinion, a lot of the things that he might have done, participated in 1998, 1999 are coming back full circle now. For example, just little stuff like, oh, well, why were you messing around with Foxy Brown when she wasn't 18 yet? What was going on with you and Aaliyah? What was going on with, and I told you I was friends with Dame Dash, and he told me a lot. I got a front row seat to a lot of Aaliyah stories, and and so I think that there are questions people are going to ask, and it's unfortunate, because you have this very public track record that people are going to lean into when they start to question other things that you might be accused of doing. And for him, unfortunately, it's going to be financially costly because there's something called Bayesian priors, where basically people, this is in statistics. Bayesian priors means basically that people will make assumptions about you based on what they already think they know about you. Right? That's not exactly the only application, but that's one application. So it means that if you're accused of stealing, and I know you went to jail for theft, then that means anybody can come back and accuse you of stealing and people will believe it because you stole something before. You see what I mean? Like, so if you've never been accused of anything, then then that's different, right? It's much harder to accuse someone who's never done anything as opposed to someone who had a past and then reformed themselves and they're like, I'm clean, I didn't do it. But people are like, no, but you did do something. And so because we're accusing you of this now, we're going to link this new accusation to the fact that you're already indicted, not just because you're a black man, right? The black man is seen as the greatest criminal in America, even though we're not, but that's how we're viewed, right? So hip hop, unfortunately, distorts the image of the black male throughout the world by making black men look like a big pack of criminals and terrible people and everything else. So my point is to say that this creates financial jeopardy. I was talking to my son the other day. We were going down to the Black Ownership Ball hosted by Jamal Green in Chicago. Jamal Green is a great guy, super smart, a great leader for the future. I look this guy up. I just have so much respect for him. Anyway, in fact, I got to bring him in here because I just like this guy a lot. Anyway, so we were on our way and we were talking about how Elon Musk became the richest man on Earth. And Elon Musk right now has a net worth that is higher than Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates combined. He's now considered the richest human being to have ever lived. They said he just passed Mansa Musa. They claim Mansa Musa was worth about 440 billion. Elon's worth about 447 billion. All this happened after the election. Something amazing happened with his stock price. And I said to him, I said, well, people don't understand that wealth can be very fragile because Elon Musk, a lot of his wealth is driven by how people perceive him. A lot of his wealth is driven by how many people trust him. He can get bank loans because the banks believe in him. People invest in the things they believe in. They don't invest in the things they don't believe in. So I said, if something were to happen and he were to be painted in a negative light and people stop believing in him, then Tesla would go bankrupt immediately. When Elon Musk signed a plea deal with the Securities and Exchange Commission, Elon said it himself. He said, the only reason I signed this deal is because I knew that I would be under investigation. I didn't do anything wrong, but I knew you guys would be investigating me. And he said, according to my bond covenants with the bondholders, the money, the financing, basically the banks and the debt holders, the bond covenants basically said that if he's ever under investigation or seen in a suspicious way, then all debt that he owes to them would be payable immediately. He would have to pay all his debt back immediately. And here's the thing, as rich as Elon is, he could not pay back all the debt that Tesla has, all the debt that SpaceX has. Most of these companies are funded by debt. Debt is driven heavily by belief and perception in the individual that receives the support. So, going back to a Jay-Z, Jay-Z's disadvantage would be that he's a black man, right there, which already means that either people don't believe in you or their belief in you is very, very fragile. It can easily be tripped up. If someone makes an accusation, doesn't matter if it's true, then suddenly all that belief and support goes away. I bet you 99.9% of all of Diddy's business partners are gone because he is on trial. But for him, there's no such thing as innocent until proven guilty. In the eyes of some, he was guilty, period. And truth be told, I will say this. I'm very happy I never got invited to any Diddy parties. I almost got invited to one actually. He had this white party in the Hamptons and if somebody had asked me to go, I'd have been like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool to just check it out. I'm so glad I didn't go. This was back when I used to hang out with Al Sharpton and stuff. And I'm telling you, I don't know what shenanigans they all got going in New York, but I'm glad to get out of that space. I just something about it, smartest people I've ever met. Al Sharpton is a genius. Wendy Williams, a genius. Russell Simmons, a genius. And I knew all these people pretty well. But when you get into these weird spaces, it just gets like strange things start to happen, and I'm so happy. And then even Kanye invited me to come to his house and sit with him and do stuff, and I didn't want to go because I was like, I don't know what you're gonna do to me in that house. Y'all are weird. Y'all drug people. Things happen. I don't want to be in this space like that. So I didn't go. I didn't go to his house, but he did. He sent me his little address. He was in some hotel in Beverly Hills, some expensive. I was like, how the hell does somebody pay like $10,000 a day to stay in some hotel for like 6 months? But he had that kind of money, and he invited me, and I was like, I thought about going, but then I was like, no, I don't want to be in that kind of space because I don't know what weird stuff y'all do in Hollywood and everything else. I don't want no parts of that. So a lot of I think life is about keeping your soul clean, as clean as you can, so that you don't have these weird things happening. Because I think that there's some shenanigans that happen. But anyway, just going back to the whole financial side of it, I would say that you shouldn't be surprised if it does get to the point where Jay-Z does end up having his financial legacy significantly disrupted. If these lawsuits turn into an avalanche of accusations, that one lawyer that he's fighting against, Tony Busby, over that one case, there's thousands of lawyers out there that are ready to fight. right? And so Busby might lose that round, but I can personally see this becoming a big problem. For many, many years, I always said that once the Me Too movement catches up with hip hop, it's going to be an absolute mess because I'm a black man. I'm the same age as a lot of these guys. And I remember hearing what they rapped about and the way they lived. And I said, these Negroes don't forget that they're black. They really forgot that they're black. They literally are openly talking about doing things that are illegal, unethical, harmful to other people, and are going to get them sued. And the thing about a lawsuit in a civil, the thing about a civil lawsuit is you don't really have to have a whole lot of proof to win a civil lawsuit. You just need what they call a preponderance of the evidence. That means that somebody listening, a jury member, just has to say, "Do I think that there's a 51% chance that you did this? Do I think that if I had to, if I was a betting man, would I bet that you did it or didn't do it? I think you probably did it. Okay, that's $50 million. Pay the man, pay the lady, right? And if you have hundreds of these people, then it becomes a problem. And so I personally think that Jay-Z's wealth is in jeopardy. I think that every single gangster rapper or anybody who's ever been involved in that side of hip hop, their wealth is in jeopardy and their life's work could easily be destroyed. And a lot of it's because of because the hip hop in itself, not all of it, but some of it, the toxic side is in direct violation of everything that protects and preserves your wealth. So how does that translate to regular people and on the rest of us? It means really that the rules of wealth go deeper than just putting money in your 401k, buying the right stocks and everything else. It goes into like a point where you kind of have to keep your nose clean. You kind of have to think about risk management as, not just remembering that you're black, but also remembering that if you are in the wrong spaces with the wrong people at the wrong times, bad things can happen. I know a lady who was a professor who was high flying. She was kicking butt, taking names, getting all these promotions and all these raises and doing really well in her career. And she married a loser. She married a bum. She married a guy who was jealous of her, who couldn't succeed in anything. So he got resentful of the fact that his wife was doing so much better than him. And so this guy just decides, he wanted to kill his wife and kill himself. He did a murder suicide. And they had two young children. So now her two children are growing up without a mother and a father because her father was a punk. And this is something that she probably never would have guessed this would have happened to her in a million years because sometimes we think that what we do professionally is disconnected from what we do personally. When we think about risk, we're always thinking about risk as, well, what if the stock market drops? Or what if the real estate market declines? Or what if something bad happens with my portfolio? No, risk is anything that jeopardizes your wealth, including lawsuits, because you were wrong place, wrong time. Lawyers love to sue rich people. They always look for a wealthy person connected to a case because wealthy people are going to pay up sometimes. And if it's a wealthy person, if it's a black man with a stellar reputation that's making money from that reputation, and he's even remotely associated with some shenanigans, a fight happens at the club and somebody says, well, he spit on me or he punched me or whatever, they're going to throw him in the lawsuit in the hopes that he will write a check just to make the lawsuit go away. That's considered to be a cost of doing business. The cost is very, very high when you're in uh, when you already have a pre-designated perception that society has of you as a black man. And so I think that when you're talking to kids about wealth, your children and your grandchildren and your nieces and nephews, talk to them about these things. Talk to them about like, look, you have to you have to try your best to be as strategic as possible, almost like you're operating with a halo around you, like where you have to say, okay, who's in my space? Now, what woman did I pick to be by my side? What kind of friends do I have? How do I respond to conflict? And if you are connected to a culture that says, you got to get ghetto, somebody talk crazy about you, you got to go punch them in the face because you want to keep it real because you're from the street. Well, just get ready to be sued. You're gonna lose millions of dollars. And rappers love to talk about that. A lot of guys like to prove how tough they are. Because something happens in the club, so they pull out a gun, they want to start punching people or whatever. Well, those are lawsuits. You're going to get sued, and you're going to get sued for millions of dollars. So if I'm a sinister person that wants to take your money, all I do is I tap into your ego. Like Denzel said to Will Smith when Will Smith went up there and slapped Chris Rock, and he said or Will said that Denzel had said to him that right when you hit the mountaintop, that's when the devil shows up. And so the devil might be your insecurities. And so the devil's going to show up and somebody's going to poke you. They're going to poke you right where it hurts, right where you're triggered. And if you haven't healed, if you're not smart enough to be balanced as a human being, and gone through the therapy, knowing how to kind of manage things, learning how to be conscious and strategic about your next move, then guess what? Somebody pokes you, pricks you, poop, you get triggered. Next thing you know, you don't put yourself in some shenanigans that destroys everything you've ever worked for. So how would I summarize this? Let's go back to hip hop then. Since we were talking about Jay-Z, I'm going to lay this out because I want to make sure I organize this thought properly so that you can really get this. So remember, I was telling you that the problem that I have with some segments of hip hop, I love hip hop, by the way. That's why I talk about it. It's because I love it so much. I know a lot of rappers that I admire and respect, from D1 to Killer Mike, Immortal Technique, all those guys. Even Kanye, I think, is very talented. He's just a little bit troubled. And so this is not anti-hip hop. This is pro hip hop, actually, because I think hip hop was taken from us. I think that it was ruined. I think that they deliberately used it to destroy us from the inside out. That's what I truly believe. But remember, I was telling you that some segments of hip hop are bad. Why? Because I put up a tweet about it. And my Twitter is Dr. Boyce Watkins 1, Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. So feel free to follow me on Twitter. I'm going to read my tweet so I can be clear on my thought, and I'm going to link this to economics. And this is something that you'll never learn in any finance class that I've ever seen anywhere. But then I have a PhD in this, so I'm qualified to chop up this conversation in this way. So I'm going to go ahead and go out into a space that it may seem disconnected, but you'll connect the dots. All right, so here's what I put on Twitter. I said, when people talk about the culture, you ever hear people say, well, we're doing it for the culture. We're doing it for the culture. We're part of the culture. You turn your back on the culture, right? It's the culture, the culture, the culture. You have to be really careful about what you mean when you say the culture. Because when people talk about the culture, they're usually talking about something that relates to hip hop and rappers. Now, here's the problem with hip hop culture. Not all of it, but a big chunk of it. It promotes the death of black people. Okay. It promotes drug addiction. It promotes going to prison. It promotes the sexualization of little girls. It promotes financial irresponsibility, and it promotes ignorance. Now, let's connect that to wealth. Black death. When people die in your family, is your family going to be better off financially or worse off financially? If you have the head of a household, a mother or father, or even the kids, and somebody gets hit by a stray bullet, or somebody gets into some gangster shit and it ends up in the morgue, or the provider, one of the providers of the household, is now deceased, is the household going to be better off or worse off financially? Are they going to run into more financial problems or less? Answer me in the chat. Especially when we talk about, people that maybe die with no insurance, and your kids are in front of the church begging the church to donate to the GoFundMe account because daddy didn't handle his business before he went out in the street. He was handling his business in the street, but wasn't handling his business at home. Number two, let's talk about drug addiction. Um, Does a drug addiction enhance your ability to make money or reduce your ability to make money? If I decide to go out and get hooked on Molly Percocet, there's a whole song with a chorus like that, by the way. You should be put in prison for making a song like that because you're marketing drug addiction to children whose brains have not been fully developed. I talked to a black DEA agent who was pissed off and angry because he said, I don't understand why my people don't get the fact that these drugs destroy your brain. They eat your brain like a brain-eating bacteria. So he said, when you get hooked on some of these drugs, these kids, they never come back. It's not like they can say, yeah, I used to use all this stuff when I was 16 and now I'm okay. No, no, your brain, a big chunk of your brain is fried. I know, I can think of at least two single moms I know right now who have sons that are in rehab, in and out of rehab. They're not assets to the family. They could be making money for the family. They could be building a future. They could be providing security. They could be helping the family, but instead they become a liability. So let me ask you this question again. Do drug addictions help or hurt the family's ability to build wealth? What do you think? Give me a yes or no, or help or hurt. Answer in the chat. Okay. Third question. A third thing. I said toxic hip hop promotes prison. They make prison sound like Disneyland. Like you go to prison, you keep it real, and you a gangster if you went to prison and you survived and all that. When someone goes to prison, does that help or does that hurt the family's wealth? When you are locked away and you're paying $5 $5 a minute for a collect phone call or whatever they charge, or $1 per email that to eat, or $5 an email, whatever, and working for 25 cents an hour or maybe $5 a day, does that help or hurt your family's ability to build generational wealth? Let's keep going. It promotes the sexualization of little girls. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about that stripper rap that's out here. The stripper rap is very popular. It's very popular. It's very simple message. Just if you look good and you're a freak and whatever, then men will like you. Men will give you attention. It's worthless attention, but they'll give you attention. And so you can get money, you can get, a Gucci bag or whatever, but you might get an STD with the Gucci bag and an unwanted pregnancy, and you're going to become a single mom or whatever. So do you think that the sexualization of little girls helps or hurts their ability to have a wealthy life? Do you think that a little girl that is introduced to Cardi B and memorizes Cardi B lyrics instead of learning her ABCs and learning math is going to be better off long term financially or worse off? Is she more likely to build generational wealth or less likely? Because maybe she was so traumatized as a kid by the assaults that came because she's 12 years old trying to date a grown man, that she never is able to even elevate to the level where she can think long term because the trauma is so deep that literally her mental illness debilitates her from having the ability to really move forward in life. Let's keep going. Hip hop, I mentioned that toxic hip hop promotes financial irresponsibility. So answer me in the chat. Is my wealth going to go up or down if I am buying Gucci and Louis and going to see Jake the jeweler and showing off because I got Gucci from head to toe, and I bought me a $500,000 car with my signing bonus, and I'm going to the club and spending $100,000 putting the money in stripper thongs? Is that going to help or hurt my ability to build generational wealth? Is it going to go up or down? Last one. I mentioned that toxic hip hop promotes ignorance. Is an ignorant person more or less likely to build wealth? Is an ignorant person who is not educated, who doesn't know what the hell's going on, who doesn't know up from down, who doesn't understand economics, capitalism, the systems, none of that, is that person going to have more money or less money? Is that going to help their wealth or hurt their wealth? But this is the culture. See, this the culture, y'all. This the culture, yo. Dr. Boyce, you ain't down with the culture, man. Man, excuse my French, cover your kids' ears. Cover your kids' ears. I got to be honest with you. Fuck you and fuck your culture. Okay? Just now you can uncover the baby's ears. F you, F the damn culture. That ain't my culture. That's the devil's culture. That's damn near say that's as bad as I'd rather go worship the devil than to get into your culture. That ain't no culture that I want to be a part of. That's not a culture that makes me into more of a man. That's a culture that makes me into masses, little beta male. And I'm not, you could take that culture and shove it all the way up your butt like you went to a Diddy party with no Vaseline. I care nothing about that culture. That is not my culture. I reject it. I reject it. I reject it to the point where everything that I said that the culture promotes, I want to do the opposite. Now let's dissect it further. What does the opposite look like? I mentioned that toxic hip hop celebrates Black death. Look at how many Negroes I killed today. I'll shoot a black man I'll shoot a Negro if he makes me mad, right? So instead of promoting Black death, how about we promote Black life? How about we want our children to live instead of hoping that they die? How about I work to keep my brother alive than to want my brother in a morgue? How about that? What do you think? You think would that be okay, or am I like out of touch? Or am I being a nerd? Or am I being a hater? How about instead of promoting drug addiction, how about we promote other forms of addictions, if you will, or other habits, healthy habits? Like maybe instead of being addicted to drugs, maybe kids can become addicted to learning. Right, right. Maybe instead of wasting our lives by doing things that are going to destroy our brains, how about we do things that are going to enhance the brains of our kids and make them smarter, make them more prepared, make them more strategic, make them more capable? Because you can't deny that the songs aren't promoting drugs. They are. They are. This is clear. People understand this at a high level. Anyone who listens to the music consistently knows that this is what's going on. How about instead of promoting prison, how about we promote freedom? How about we talk about what freedom even looks like? How about we consider the fact that the most revolutionary thing you can do in America as a black person is to be economically and intellectually free. If you are intellectually and economically free, then you are one of the most dangerous black people around. And let me tell you why. You're dangerous because when you are free, they cannot make money from you. When you are free, you're not going to be a corporate slave. When you are free, you're not going to be making money in the prison system. When you are free, they're not making money from you being a ridiculously excessive consumer of any crappy product that they throw at you. So freedom is very dangerous. Freedom is very radical. I think that's why maybe that's why my Facebook page got taken down. I had almost 1 million followers. They took it down. What am I doing? I'm not hurting nobody. Oh, that's right. I'm talking about things that are opposite to the culture, right? Because there's plenty of rappers that will tell your child to go get hooked on dope and kill himself, and their pages they'll have 30 million followers, right? So how about that? How about instead of promoting incarceration, we promote freedom and know by knowing what freedom looks like, studying it, being able to identify it, having the courage to pursue it, and having the courage to plan for it. You plan for it, it will happen. You plan for my child to be free. My child's a baby. I need my baby to be free. So I'm going to invest for that child. I'm going to teach that child. I'm going to make sure that they understand how the game works. I'm going to give them the game so that when they're little, they're not, and they grow older, they're not going to feel like they got left behind and forgotten and abandoned. They're not going to have a scenario where they say, gosh, I would have done things so different if somebody had told me. A lot of you feel that way. A lot of you come to class in the morning and you're like, gosh, I wish somebody had told me this when I was 10 or 20 years old. My whole life would have been different. Well, I don't want your kids saying the same thing 50 years from now. You teach them while they're 10. You teach them while they're 7. Talk to them. Let's keep going. How about instead of promoting the sexualization of little girls, maybe we promote the protection of little girls? How about that? How about we protect black women and really commit ourselves to that? And I'm not just talking about the men, I'm talking about the women too. Some of y'all promote the shenanigans and the sexualization and rapping Cardi B in the car with your little 7-year-old daughter in the back, or whatever. So I would say because I here's what I think. This is something I actually talked to my son about. I said the hard part about dating for you, he's really tall, by the way. So like if you see him and I say this is my son, you're immediately going to say that can't be your son because you can't make a child that's 6'9". He has a great father. His father is a wonderful man, and I am the bonus dad. So that and it's an honor for me. It's a privilege. I love black kids. I just love the kids in our house. Um, so that's another area where I'm a simp, apparently. Because I married a woman with children, but it's been a great asset to my life. And I was talking to him and I said, look, look, man, I said, you're tall. Women naturally love tall dudes. I didn't even know that because women never told me. I guess they didn't want to hurt my feelings, but apparently guys that are over 6 feet tall are like a hot commodity and only 15% of men are over 6 feet tall. He's 6'9", so he's probably in the 1 percentile, right? So he comes in and he's a good looking dude. So he comes in and the girls instantly are like, who's that? Right? So I said, you have to be really careful when you're dating. I said, because we have a society where we don't understand the tragedy of the fact that 76% of black girls don't grow up with their father in the house. We act like that's not a big deal. That's not a problem. That it's everything's fine. And I said, but imagine if you didn't have your mother. Imagine if you grew up and didn't have your mother in the house. Think about what kind of man you would be. You'd be a very different person. And if you don't acknowledge that and notice that differential, then you might end up becoming something other than what you should have been, right? And you may not even know that it was a problem if everyone tells you like, oh, mothers don't matter. It's okay. You can not have a mama and be okay. I believe that if we grow up without mamas, we have a dramatic increase in the percentage of serial killers in society. Like we have a whole lot of crazy psychopaths in the world because a mother's love is irreplaceable. And I also think a father's love is irreplaceable. I think a father's protection is irreplaceable, right? So I would say that when you talk about the little girls, I think that we are complaining about the problem that we're helping to facilitate and create. I think that when we're teaching little girls that they don't need a man, then you're harming the girl. You're putting her out here in the world where she's going to be very vulnerable. Because I don't care what you say, I think men matter. I matter for my wife. My wife matters for me. I would never go through life thinking I don't need a woman. I don't need black women. No, I need black women. Black women done had my back so many times it's ridiculous. Starting with my mama. My mama she could have just aborted me and I wouldn't even exist. So that was the first woman that had my back. Then she fed me for approximately 158,670 hours until I hit the age of 18. And she's been with me ever since. So don't you ever try to convince me that I don't need women, that we don't need women, because that would be ridiculous. I would look at you like you're an alien and that you're crazy. So men matter. We matter. So I think that with little girls that go into the world and bad things are happening, is sometimes at the hands of predatory men. Like you see all these allegations that are out there and stuff like that. It makes me very sad because I think that we've forgotten what that looks like to really protect black girls. And I don't think it's men's fault, women's fault. I think it's everybody's fault. It's all of our fault. So anyway, let's keep going. Third, or next, how about instead of promoting financial irresponsibility, we relentlessly and just almost vehemently promote financial intelligence? How about that? How about instead of encouraging ourselves to be extreme consumers, we encourage ourselves to be extreme investors. That literally, because we can do this. We've got everything we need. Literally, just with 1/10 of what I've taught you all in this class so far, you could take 1/10 of that and financially dominate 60, 70% of the earth. I guarantee you. Like Americans are so horrifically financially unprepared. It's ridiculous. And I don't, you can't tell me that that's an accident. That's not an accident. They can easily put financial literacy, basic financial literacy in the public school system and make sure everybody knows how to be financially intelligent. Everybody understands investing. I can show you how to, people say, well, I talked to a pastor. He was a big time pastor. He ran some big organization, a Southern Baptist something. And I was sitting next to him and in a meeting and we were talking, the person was speaking about something. He goes, so, Dr. Watkins, how long would it take? He said, if I gave you, if we had 3 or 4 hours of a seminar, would you be able to teach people how to invest in 3 hours? I said, I could show you how to invest with $5 in 5 minutes. And he kind of looked at me like, what? I said, yeah, it's easy. I've told you all about the monkey experiment. They taught monkeys how to invest, and monkeys made more money than the investors on Wall Street. Burton Malkiel, look it up. Random Walk Down Wall Street is a book written in 1971. So it does not take long to teach someone how to invest. And the biggest mystery of my life that still baffles me is how is it that you have a child from the age of 0 to 18, they have 157,680 hours in your custody and nobody took 10 minutes to teach them how to buy a share of stock, which is the number one wealth driver in America right now. Elon Musk would not be the richest man on earth if he did not own a bunch of stock. Warren Buffett is right up there with him because he owns a bunch of stock. People are building wealth like crazy because they own a bunch of stock. So I'm like, how in the hell is it that so many people haven't just spent like a fraction of the money that we spend on everything else and bought some stock with that? It's not calculus. So the point of the matter is to say, I would say that if you want to be the opposite of the culture and build a better culture, then get rid of the financial irresponsibility and the goofball shenanigans and say, no, no, we're gonna get serious about this. We're gonna get gangster with our economics. You know, I love J. Mall Green. I told you I went to J. Mall Green's Black Ownership Ball last night. I came all the way from Kentucky to be there. I canceled. I was going to go to John Hope Franklin's event, the Operation Hope, the Hope Global Forum, and he had invited me. I like John a lot. But I was, with my mother. My mother's not doing well, but I said I got to get to J. Mall's event because I want to support this young guy because he really gets it, and he got real gangster with the banks. He got real gangster. I think it was Chase Bank, and he said, "You're not loaning money to the black community. You're not. You are a vulture. You are taking things from the community and giving nothing back." So he literally got on their asses so bad that they banned him from the banks. But they came around and they actually started loaning hundreds of millions of dollars more to the black community because of what he did. And I said, I have so much respect for this guy. So I wanted to go there. So anyway, at the Black Ownership Ball, that was one of the things that I just thought about. Is I said, God, if we had more people doing this kind of thing, just really being gangster about our economics and not trying to be politically correct, not trying to make friends with your so-called fake ass allies, not trying to fit in, not trying to just be a good boy all the time or a good girl all the time, just being radical when it comes to the protection of our community, protection of our children, because the protection of our kids is our job. That is our damn job. So when our families are not protected, when our people are not doing well, that is something we gotta look in the mirror. I get it. I know that there are other people that don't want you to be successful. Well, so the hell what? Join the damn club. Ain't nobody gonna want you to really win like that. People don't give trophies away for free. What you think this is? You think this is back in the 90s when we started giving the fat kid in the back of the room a trophy? Even though he didn't practice, he didn't stay in shape, he chose to eat the chocolate candy bar, he chose to show up unprepared, but yet you gonna give him the same trophy that you gave to the kid who did the work? Life don't work like that. Y'all know this. Life don't work this way. So to me, I think that us really tapping into the best of ourselves and being and turning inward and really just saying, okay, how do we really make sure we're ready for this thing? How do we really get out here and get ready to fight a little bit? I personally think we do that. Anybody who does that is gonna have a far greater likelihood of winning at something. You're going to succeed at something. And at the very least, people will know that you were there. People will know that you're not to be messed with. You're not to be shoved around. I scare people a lot. I don't mean to scare people. I think I'm a nice person because I believe deeply in love. I will love the hell out of you because I want to love first. But people know don't come messing with boys with no BS. And definitely don't come to me with some shenanigans because I'm smart enough to see what's going on and I'm not afraid to say I'm not doing that. That's stupid. That's bad. Why would you even expect me to go for this nonsense? So when people tell me that this is the culture, I want to just tell you, you come up to me because I've had people call me and say, I told you, rapper friends who are like, "Hey Doc, we don't want people to think that you don't like all the rappers." I said, I love the rappers, but that son of a bitch, oh, he's an enemy to the black community. You don't see it? Oh, he's a Klansman. They just put Negro colors on him. They colored him brown, and you think that the Klansman is one of you. We know that all skin folk ain't kinfolk. We know this. So why are you trying to tell me that somebody whose actions are harmful is somehow my brother or my ally? I can't make you my ally. I don't hate you, but I'm not going to let you come up in my house with no shenanigans because if something bad happens to the people that I'm supposed to protect because I decided to let you come in there and do that to my children, then that is my fault. That is on me. So last thing I would say is we talked about, how promotes ignorance. So how about instead of promoting ignorance, we promote intelligence? How about we make intelligence cool again? How about we stop making or letting people make the smart black kid feel bad or feel embarrassed or let people say, well, you acting white because you reading books and stuff and you speak in a certain way and you just that stuff like that should make us violently angry. Not to the point where you're ready to fight somebody for real like that. I don't want to promote no violence, but really, it's insanity. It's insanity to me. See, here's the thing. Okay, let me tell you about dumb people. See, dumb people can't be blamed for being dumb because when you're dumb, you're too dumb to know how dumb you are, and that's okay, right? That's all right. It's dumb. I forgive you for you know not what you do. But you know what pisses me off? You know what drives me crazy? Is when you have a smart person who pretends to be dumb just so they can fit into the culture. I want to fit into the culture, right? Because they feel like it's cool. That makes me sad. That makes me angry because I'm like, but you know what you're doing. You know that that's stupid. Why are you doing this? Where's your testicles at? Where's your courage, dude? Like, why would you act dumb just to fit in with dumb because you think dumb people are winning? And I get it, right? There's peer pressure and all that, but I hate that because that's a wasted resource. That smart person could have been as smart as they could have been really smart and done some really smart stuff and really solved some important problems. But instead, they're like, duh, 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 you don't do like, okay, we don't need more dumb people. They've already flooded the market. There's already too many. There's an oversupply of stupid people. Let's take the smart ones, the hardworking ones, the intelligent black people, the people that really know what's going on, the ones that really want to learn, the ones that want to grow, and let's elevate them. Let's hold them up like Simba and the Lion King and be like, this is who we are. This is the culture. But instead, I got to go to a damn political rally and see Megan the Stallion twerking and all this other nonsense. Or some comedian up there telling jokes, hey, because a black man is a clown. In case you didn't know, they love it when we show up as clowns, rappers, or athletes. That's pretty much it. Very childlike demeanors because athletes they play a game. Children play games, right? Comedians tell jokes. You're a clown. That's why they like it. That's why they feel comfortable with you, right? And then unfortunately, many rappers have been trained to degrade themselves and degrade their community. They love that. Oh, they'll clap for that. They'll give you all kinds of money. And because we don't understand the power of money in terms of how money can shape perceptions in an awkward and terrible way, we think that you're successful because you have money when that is not success. That money is not a symbol of success. That money is a symbol of an epic failure. That's what that money is symbolizing. It's not symbolizing anything great, anything successful. It's symbolizing the fact that you sold out more than anybody else, and that's why you got paid. And if I don't tell you anything else about money, I need you to understand that. that all money is not good money. Some money is poison. So with that said, I want to see the smart people. You know, I want to see the black man or black woman that's like trying to build rocket ships like Elon Musk. I want to see the black man or black woman that specializes in quantum computing and can explain to me what a qubit is, right? And how quantum computers are going to dominate the world one day. I want to hear from those people. I don't want to I don't I'm tired of hearing about the rappers and the comedians and the athletes. And God bless them. You know, some of them. I mean, I'm not saying they're all stupid. I'm not dismissing them at all. Some of them are cool. Some of them are growing and all this. I respect that. But man, some of this stuff. It's like, Lord Jesus. You know, let me tell you a story that really made me angry. This happened in, I guess I need to stop. I guess a lot of stuff makes me mad. But there was I went on the Breakfast Club one time, and there was this rapper named Trinidad James. And you anybody remember Trinidad James? In case you don't remember, Trinidad James had a whole mouthful of gold teeth, and he had a whole bunch of chains. He'd wear like 40 chains, and he had that song, "Gold all in my chain, gold all in my ring, gold all in my watch. Don't believe me, just watch. Igga, 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 don't believe me, just watch." Right? You remember that? I mean, the song was so bad that I saw it and I put it on Facebook. I said, "What is this crap?" And people were making fun of me. They were like, "Doc, that's a spoof. That's not a real music video." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I got it. I must have messed up. I must be getting old. I thought it was real. I thought it was a real song." Well, guess what? It turns out that they were wrong and I was right. This was a real song. He became a real rapper. He was famous for about 25 minutes. And so I went on the Breakfast Club and he came in the day before me. And I was like, oh God, I'm so glad that guy didn't come in the same time I did because I just can't take it. It's too much. And somebody said, no, Doc, he's actually really smart. He just acts dumb, because he wants to, make his song popular. And I said, okay, now you really done made me mad. Now I'm really pissed off because it'd be one thing again if he was dumb, I would forgive him for his disability. Like, okay, you just think this is good because you don't know any better, and that's okay, right? It's all right. But the fact that you know better, the fact that you're smart and you're behaving this way, you're behaving like a damn animal, just because so these white folks will write you a check, that bothers me, man. That really, that really just that makes it doesn't just upset me. It angers me because you're damaging so many of our children. You're not, as a black man, I think that we all have a responsibility to be stewards of the community, right? I think this is why I love to mentor black kids. I love to, I was happy to marry a woman with kids. Like even though the guys are like, don't do that. And kids are black kids are great. That's the future, right? I invest in the future. And to me, when we don't uphold that responsibility and we give them just horrific examples and don't try our best to at least try our best to set a good example for them, that makes me sad. I think that that's a dereliction of duty. I think that we have not met our responsibility. And I encourage you to consider what I'm saying. I'm not, you don't have to agree with me. I'm an angry black man this morning, and I understand for some of us it may be a little bit hard to digest. But I say this in love. I will, and in fact, I don't. I say this in love and just with clear determination. F the culture. F that culture. Ain't nothing about that culture. I just dissected that. There's nothing about that culture that's going to promote your wealth. There's that culture is part of the reason that black wealth is not going up. Now, who's responsible for the creation of this horrific demonic nonsense? I don't know. We can debate that. I'm not here to say black. I don't think black people created any of that. I don't think that black folks had anything to do with planning this. I think that there were people who might have planned this who don't want to see you win. They don't want to see you thrive. They don't want to see your children safe. They don't want to see you happy. They don't want to see you unified. They don't want to see your families. They don't want to see any of those things because when you are unified, when you are intelligent, when you are prepared, when you are solid, it makes it that much harder for them to exploit you. And I've talked to you guys about this that capitalism is built on the exploitation of those who are unprepared. So we got to prepare. So you can take that culture and shove it up your butt. I don't want no parts of none of that nonsense. If you tell me I'm not connected to the culture, that to me is a compliment because I'm build I want to build a new culture. I think that that's what we really deserve as a people. So anyway, I'm gonna finish up. If you want to know the stock, I mentioned to you guys, I was gonna give you a stock that I want to buy. It is Uber. I am buying Uber because I believe Uber has a great capacity to possibly become very powerful, very dominant. I think as this robo-taxi thing kind of takes place, there are many players in the robo-taxi space, and I believe that they're going to have to go through Uber because Uber has a really extraordinary infrastructure that will the technological infrastructure that will allow them to be a critical aspect of the long-term development of this robo-taxi space. So I think Uber is a stock worth taking a look at. Of course, this is not investing advice. This is just me just talking to you. All right. So the second thing I wanted to do was those of you who are in here. By the way, if you want to get on the text list and be invited to this class, we meet every morning at 7 a.m. You can bring your family. That's all I ask. You don't have to pay anything. Just pay attention and bring people that want to hear something that is going to help them. If you want to be invited, just text on your phone. Text the word morning, MORNING, to the phone number 87948. So text morning to 87948. And last but not least, Laura Key, she's an international real estate expert. Right now, in the Fly Nubian Money Club, she's doing a special session on how to buy your first property. So you can't say nobody told you. She can answer all your questions. I put that link in the chat. So if you guys want to go, and if you're watching like right now, you literally can leave right now and go over to her session and then decide if you want to join the Fly Nubian Money Investment Club. I put the link in on YouTube, and I just put the link inside the Zoom. So feel free to go hit that link, pop over there, and check out what she's doing over there. I'm gonna go watch because she's super smart and she knows a lot about real estate. And I want to support you guys in your effort to buy property and to learn how to get past the loopholes. All right. So anyway, hope you guys have a great day. God bless you. Thank you guys for listening. And last but not least, if you want to start your wealth building journey, feel free to go to blackmoney101.com. That's blackmoney101.com. So have a good day, everybody. Oh, and one more thing I want to mention too is I forgot to mention that Aisha Verzi is in here, and if you're interested in real estate stuff like that, Aisha's been a supporter of the Black Business School for a long time. So if you want to talk to Aisha about whatever you're doing with your family in terms of real estate and stuff like that, then you can not real estate, I'm sorry, insurance and whatever your financial goals are, you can give her a call. And Aisha, if you're here, put your phone number in the chat so that everyone can see it because I don't have your number in front of me. So share your phone number so that others can give you a call. All right, guys. So have a great day. God bless you, and I will.